Hello friends, good morning to all. Today we have to see the physical characteristics of soil. In the previous lecture we have seen some physical characteristics of soil, and today we have to see the remaining physical characteristics of soil. So let us see physical characteristics of soil. Particularly in this lecture we have to cover texture, color, consistence, soil surface area of the soil. So let us see what it means by soil texture. Soil texture means the relative proportion of the particles or separates of various sizes in the soil. So there are various particles which having variety of sizes, and according to that there are groups, or according to their these there is the separation of this material or the particles, or in other words we can say soil texture is the relative percentage of sand, silt and clay in the soil. It is the basic property of soil. In short, soil texture is nothing but the ratio or proportion of sand, silt and clay. So soil texture is nothing but the percentage of these particulars, sand, silt and clay. Soil texture, according to this there are soil textural classes. Soil texture is determined by the particles available in the soil. To get an idea about texture of the soil according to their physical properties, class names are used. First class is sands. The sand group includes all soils in which the sand separates make up at least 70% and the clay separates 50% or less of the material by weight. Means whenever there is a 70%, more than 70% sand in the particular soil, that class is a sand class. Naturally, the properties of the soils are of sand in contrast to sticker nature of clays. There are two specific textural classes are found in this group, sandy and loamy. Loamy again divided into two subgroups, loamy fine and loamy very fine. Second class is silts. This group include soils at least 80% silt and 12% or less clay. It is but natural that properties of this group are dominated by those of silt. Only one class silt is included in this group, means no another groups are available in the silts. Clays. This group includes at least 35% of clay, separates and in most cases not less than 40%. In this soil, the characteristics of clay separates are distinctly dominant, and the class names are clay, sandy clay and silty clay. Sandy clay may contain more sand than clay. So this is all about the clays. Next group is loams. This group contains many subdivisions. This is the more complicated soil textural class. An ideal may be defined as a mixture of sand, silt and clay in equal proportion. This soil does not show dominant physical properties of sand, silt and clay. Means no any particle, means sand or silt or clay, is dominantly found in the loams. They are equally distributed or equally proportionate in the soil. So loams are the one important group. This is the diagrammatic presentation of sand, silt and clay. So you can see here in the diagram, sand is a granular and silt is again finer than the sand, and clay is too much finer than the silt. So size is also get decreased in the sand, silt and clay. Sand particles are having more sizes, silt have medium sizes and clay have very small sizes. So this is diagrammatic presentation or the triangular presentation of the sand, silt and clay. Which type of percentage is there in the soil, we can show here or we can see here. Next characteristic is soil color. Basically, any soil has its parent material color, which termed as lithochromic. For example, red soil developed from red sandstone, while black cotton soil developed from hard basalt. As we know that rocks are the basic material for the formation of soil, and that's why whenever the soils are formed, the parent material gives its soils to the product, and that's why by which rock that soil is formed, that determines the soil color. but chemical, physical and biological process affects the basic color, and after time passes it gets changed. There are three variables by which any soil possesses its own color. These are as follows. Although no doubt there is a basic rocks or parent material gives colors to the any soil, but there are various changes occurs during the time passes, during the chemical, physical and biological processes. At that time color get changed, and the process by which it gets changed, these are as follows. First one is hue. This is the dominant spectral color rainbow, and it is related to wavelength of light. So how much wavelength of light affect on the soil, that is determine the soil's color value. This refers to the relative lightness of color and is the function of total amount of light. And the last one is chroma. This is the relative purity of strength of spectral color. Means these three factors again affect after the fragmentation or after the disintegration of rocks, and then the soil possesses a color. So there are variety of colors according to the basic material, parent material, and according to the chemical, physical and biological processes. It may be red, black, blue, sometimes blue, grayish, brown and many more. So these colors depend on the processes which occurred during the fragmentation on the or the weathering processes. Next one is soil consistence. It is the term which is used to describe the resistance of the soil at various moisture content to mechanical stresses. As we know that soil continuously disintegrated by the various agents, and many agents act on the soil particles continuously, but there is some resistance in the soil particles, and that soil resistance, whatever the soil particle have, their resistance is nothing but the soil consistence. It represents at varying moisture condition, that means kind of cohesion and adhesion. Cohesion means to the attraction of substance of like characteristics such as that of one water molecule for another. Adhesion means the attraction of unlike material, example attraction between soil and water molecule. These characteristics depends on the texture, colloid structure and especially the moisture content of soil. The consistence of soil is expressed at three soil moisture levels: wet, moist and dry. So in which level the soil is, whether it is wet, whether it is moist or whether it is dry, that determines the soil consistence. And the last characteristics of the soil is soil surface area. Specific surface of a soil is defined as the amount of surface area per unit weight of volume of soil and is expressed in meter square per gram. Surface area of Montmorillonite is 700 to 800 millimeter square per gram, Elite 100 to 120 meter square per gram, and Kaolinite 5 to 20 millimeter square per gram. It is but natural that if we take two equal volumes, one containing large particles and other small particle, the surface of small particle is much greater than the surface area of big particles. As we know that soil particles, how much volume they have occupied, that determines the soil surface area. And in this way we can say that if the soil particles are small in size, they occupy more surface area, while as if the soil particles are large in size, they occupy less surface area. So this is all about the physical characteristics of the soil. So this point, today we have finished this point over here. Thank you very much.